Time to award the lead muffin this morning. And it goes to none other than Chris Curtis.
Dang it.
Yes!
For his lead this morning at 6:25. And here is a little bit of what Curtis said during his lead.
There are 3 assistant coaches now officially joining Ime Udoka's staff with the Houston Rockets. You have Ben Sullivan, Aaron Myers, and Mike Moser to go along with Damon Stoudemire, who left midway through the season to go to college, and you had Hardy, the assistant coach that took a head coaching job at the conclusion of the 2022 playoffs. So since the Celtics were in Game 6 of the NBA Finals in 2022, they have lost 5 assistant coaches and Ime. So we're going to talk about the brain drain of the Patriots. There has been a massive brain drain with the Celtics, and if the assistants are looking to join Ime, could players join them as well? If the coaches are all en masse joining him, what could have been the absolute, unforgivable sin that Ime committed?
I don't want to get wiggy going down that road
listen,
again.
I told you.
What's done is done.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Ime is not here and will not be back here.
Nope.
So, do you think the addition of, when it comes to the players, the addition of Sam Cassell is what they're looking for when it comes to a guy who actually played in the NBA and somebody that they can look to for a comforting voice, somebody that can relate to them as players?
See, I don't really think so. Now, granted, I don't know the dynamic of the assistant coach in basketball, but I mean, it's really about the head coach, right? So you have an assistant that you like, but how much power does he really have? It's really about the head coach. And with them, basically, and when I say them, Brad and Wick basically co-signing Mazzulla being the guy again, isn't he now just going to take the level of kind of hard-on-ness to another level because he knows like he's the guy, and now he's going to have a full off season where it's, I'm not being thrown into things. So you're probably going to get even more of a hardo out of Mazzulla next year when things might when ish hits the fan a little bit.
But I don't know that the issue. Are you saying the issue for the players was that he was a hardo?
No. I'm just saying. I'm saying based on his personality and on
he was that way with the media. I mean, Brad went out of his way at the postseason press conference to say that, I think it was Brad or maybe it was in that athletic piece, that he didn't criticize players publicly, and I guess they like that. We learned that when it came to Bruce Cassidy and the Boston Bruins, and that he was a leader.
But my thing is, what changes as far as the relationship dynamic between the Jays and Marcus Smart? Because I think that's your biggest issue, right? That is even bigger of an issue than Mazzulla. I think your biggest issue is what changes in their relationship and on the court of how they play. That's, to me, the biggest issue. And then Mazzulla's going to have to figure out, how do I handle those egos? And then how do I handle the egos of Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, and Marcus Smart?
If you have Marcus Smart telling Joe Mazzulla what he's going to do on the sideline this season, next season, that's not going to change. Mazzulla's not going to be able to get him to buy into whatever position he wants him to be in when it comes to he versus the Jays. I think that the three of them can play together, and I think we saw that when Ime was here. But if you have a guy in the first year not being able to handle the egos, he's not going to be able to in the second year. Yes,
okay,
he'll have one.
But weren't the players right? When you look back at the identity of this team, season to season, and where they got the previous season was based a lot on defense and not on offense.
Yeah.
Weren't they right?
Yeah, I think they were right to a certain...
That's why I don't understand why you're bringing Joe Mazzulla back.
But I don't understand anyone who stands in front of me and says that Mazzulla's a leader. The owner of the team had to lead because there was an absence of leadership through 3 games of the conference final. Like, I just, and you're at the game, Greg, right?
Yeah.
Wick is screaming pace,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're at the game. Marcus Smart puts himself back into the game without even checking with Mazzulla. Where is the leadership they're talking about?
But the problem is Brad can't do nothing about Mazzulla because he handpicked him, right? So then it's a bad look on Brad if they fire Mazzulla after. And then I told you, similar to how kind of we talk about the Red Sox and you know, their expectations, I believe the Celtics looked at this season, even though I think they looked at it as a small failure, but also they looked at it as more of a success because they feel like, all right, we had all this stuff go wrong, and we still were one game away from going back to our second finals appearance in back-to-back years. That's the way I believe that they looked at it, and they'll look at it and go, oh, if Tatum doesn't get hurt, different outcome. And next year, Mazzulla's going to have more time. He's going to have a whole off season. That's what they're selling us. So they're selling us as Mazzulla was able to do this by being thrown in there. Imagine what he's going to be able to do when he has all this time to really get to know and handpick some of his assistants. The players get to know him, a full offseason. So they look at it as, I know it's a small failure, but they look big picture as a success.
No, Brad Stevens, I think, told you it wasn't a failure.
Right.
So,
and
in their mind, it's not.
Another team not championship driven. If you are championship driven, you don't have Joe Mazzulla as your head coach. I'm sorry. You don't have Kike at shortstop. You don't have, nobody at left tackle. And you don't have Joe Mazzulla manning your bench. You just don't.
But that's what we have become around there when it comes to our teams. We've become
fat and happy.
I would say, yeah, that's part of it. But keep us close enough to where we can maybe fight for a playoff spot. That's it. Because a lot of people are gonna point to the Miami Heat, especially if the Miami Heat win an NBA title. The regular season is going to go out the window. Mm-hmm. So you can care less about the regular season. But that's what we've become.
We're the city of contenders.
Kraft said it. It's all about making the playoffs. Don't matter about winning the division no more, winning championships.
But that's only accepted if we accept it. The owner of any business can say whatever the hell they want. It's about the people that buy their products that get to dictate if things change.
But who's not going to accept it? If the
I don't know. A lot of Patriots fans are pissed.
No, if the Red Sox are a team that's selling out every game, you think the Patriots are not going to sell out? You think the Celtics are not going to sell out? Yeah. At least I'll say this about the Patriots. They will be in the mix in the sense of they won't be as far out of it, it seems like, with the Red Sox. They'll be competitive because that's what they'll do.
The Patriots and the Red Sox have the same shot at winning a championship this year. 0.
Right.
I don't know, Curtis. Mac was 11 for 11.
Well, he hasn't thrown an incompletion all year.
All right.